Good morning. I'll be talking about security on the internet. So here's a brief overview of my talk. First, I'll be going through a few cool internet security threats, most notably malware, such as bots, ransomware, and spyware. And then I'll talk about a very famous kind of attack called man-in-the-middle. Then I'll talk about password security, good policies, and how hackers steal your passwords. And then I'll go over some historical examples of malware. So firstly, what are bots? They are, in essence, just scripts that run automated tasks. And they're usually installed unknowingly on a user's machine through Trojans, which are applications that seem legitimate, but install the bot in the background. And maliciously, they are commonly used to mine crypto in the background. If they are connected on a network, they can be used to commence distributed denial of service attacks, which can take down servers. They can be used to farm resources in online games. A very notable example is League of Legends, where there are bots which level up accounts to be sold on online markets. They can be used to distribute illegal content like pirated movies as well, where IRC is a very popular protocol for this, where you have bots on chat networks hosting files and serving them to you. But not all bots are bad. Some of them can be good, like chatbots for customer support on most websites, and web crawlers used for web indexing as well. This is how Google optimizes their search engine. So a botnet is a network of bots controlled by one bot herder, which uses a control server to manipulate all of the bots through one command. Next, I'll be talking about ransomware. And this is software which installs itself on your system and encrypts your files and demands you to pay up to decrypt them. This is usually a payment in cryptocurrency for the anonymity of it. But modern crypto exchanges usually require customer profile verification now, so crypto isn't as untrackable as it was back in the day. There's another variation of ransomware, which is known as leakware. And this threatens to expose sensitive data on the victim's machine in exchange for payment. The best way to counter ransomware is simply to make regular backups. Because if you simply remove the ransomware from your machine, there's no guarantee, or the files won't be decrypted if you just remove the ransomware from your machine. And even if you pay up, there's no guarantee that the malicious attacker will give you the key to decrypt your files. And then there's spyware, which is software which usually hides itself on your machine and gathers information on the victim. But legitimate software can also be classified as spyware, like web tracking. For example, Google gathering data on your searches to tailor the results to you in the future and to give you targeted advertising as well. Netflix uses data gathering as well to recommend series and movies based on what you've watched previously. And malicious spyware, like keyloggers and screen recorders, are commonly used for stealing your banking details and passwords. Now, a man-in-the-middle attack is basically a man in the middle of communication between a client and a server. So you have the client that thinks it's talking directly to the server, but in the middle, there's an attacker that intercepts the information from the client and relays it to the server after potentially modifying the data as well. And the simplest way this is done is through free public Wi-Fi, where the hacker opens a network, you connect to it, you think it's secure, but there's someone intercepting your data and possibly modifying it. It's commonly used for phishing to redirect users to malicious websites where they then enter their details and unknowingly share them with the man in the middle. And this is prevented by websites securing themselves with SSL and TLS, where they sign encryption certificates to secure the connection between the client and the web application. And here is a diagram illustrating the man in the middle attack. Now, password security. Passwords are commonly stolen through phishing, brute force, and rainbow table attacks. Phishing is a social engineering attack where an attacker fraudulently disguises himself as a legitimate website so that the user can willingly give up their details to the hacker. For example, a fake banking website to enter your details. Brute force is one we're all fairly familiar with, where the hacker just tries all the possible passwords until he gets one that matches. And a rainbow table attack is basically just a lookup where on the internet there's a big table of pre-computed hashes where the hacker can just compare a leaked database of passwords to the rainbow table to crack passwords. And this is usually stopped by adding salt to the passwords on the server, which is essentially a random string to ensure that the hashes are different. And to prevent password attacks, it's usually best to have a secure password policy. And that's passwords that are like 16 characters long, random, with special characters, numbers, and not having ones that can easily be guessed, like names of family members or pets. And I would suggest using a password manager to keep track of your passwords. And now we'll look at some historical examples of malware. Two famous internet worms from way back, the Melissa virus and the I Love You virus. And one famous example of ransomware, known as CryptoLocker. So the Melissa virus was a mass mailing macrovirus in 1999. And this basically means that it was embedded in a malicious Word document, which would run the macro if the user opens the document. And it basically took the first 50 contacts in your mailing list and forwarded the same email onto them. And it was estimated that 1 million email accounts were compromised like this. It targeted Microsoft Word and Outlook and basically brought down their servers. Very similar to the Melissa virus is the I Love You virus, which is a computer worm in 2000, which affected an estimated 45 million users. So it was much more prominent than the Melissa virus. But this one was just a regular Visual Basic script attached to the email. But Windows usually hides the extension for known file types. So in the screenshot, the love letter for you.txt.vbs would only show the .txt part of it. And when users open it, it runs the script and sends the email to all of your contacts instead of only the first 50, like the Melissa virus did. And it also destroyed random files like documents, audio, and images on the victim's computer. And then CryptoLocker is a very famous ransomware, which originated in 2013 and was also spread via email, usually as disguised PDF attachments. It installs itself on your machine, grabs a public key from a command and control server, and encrypts all of your important files like documents, images, videos, and so forth. It then demands payment so that you can decrypt your files and adds a time limit to it as well. And the payment was demanded in Bitcoin. Most users that paid up reported that they never got the key back and their files were lost forever unless they made offline backups to recover them.